Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. Over the last few years, as our family dog Penelope started getting older, it got to the point where she couldn't process commercial foods very well. She would eat them, she liked the taste of them, and she also even liked the taste of the cat food. And actually, we had at one point put up a child gate so that she couldn't get into the kitchen and just graze on whatever she could find. We found that as her stomach got more sensitive, it would just go right through her. So we started making her own food. Not with these ingredients. This is a little bit more akin to what you feed for fish. For her, we would use sweet potatoes, hamburger, well, the carrots and broccoli you see there, yes. Not very much zucchini. Instead of the spinach, which is this stuff here, we'd also put in green beans and that sort of stuff. I mean, trying to mix up the colors and trying to give her, a nice mix of things as well, but not so much the fish-oriented stuff. Hamburger in an aquarium would really make a mess. And so this is a much better process for that. And that container in the middle is, well, my revenge on duckweed. Every now and then when I skim it off the tanks, I would take some of it and put it in here. And then I'll put it in the freezer, and it gets processed into fish food, which is perfectly fine. It's actually really edible for pretty much everything. And as far as the balance of what to put in the fish food, I don't really worry about it a whole lot. I try to keep a fair amount of protein and of course a fair amount of roughage and lots of different colors of greens and stuff. Here's more duckweed I'm going to put in. And also in there, I forgot to mention, there is obviously shrimp that I catch and the amphipods, the scuds, they're also in there. So that also adds another layer of nutrition for the fish, which is really good. Now, the most important aspect of this here is I'm going to try some of the techniques I learned making her food over the last little while, and also of course because of COVID and having to cook a lot of food for myself and for the family and whatnot. I'm going to try to start and put some of that stuff into how I'm going to make this. This is not going to be the same process as I did when I put up the last video for fish food, which was to use the gelatin. And then of course once it sets, you just cut it up and freeze it or store it in the fridge, and then drop the little gelatin cubes into the tanks. There is of course no problem using gelatin, as it's a very good binder, and I've never had any issues with it as far as polluting the water, causing cloudiness or any of that sort of thing. But this time what I want to do is I want to try something different. I want to try making the fish food and not use any binder at all. I mean, there are lots of materials, chemicals that are actually naturally found in the vegetables, pectins and stuff like that, which will cause this to thicken up. And I think I can get away with having none whatsoever. Now, there was two options I had at this point when I was thinking of making this. I could make it into a really thick paste, which is plan A, and that's one thing I wanted to try. Or I could actually just remove all the water, and that's what I decided to go with for this particular batch. And I'm not actually sure, to tell you the truth, which would have been better to do. The food I end up with in the end, you'll see how it works. It's actually quite interesting. But I think for general fish use, I think the thick paste would have worked better for like a greater variety of fish. Let's just put it that way. So as this is boiling down, as you can see here, you can see on the left, that's pretty much the level it started at. And anybody who's done any biology with plants knows that pretty much every vegetable you eat is somewhere in the high 90s in percentage of just water. And so that's the whole point of doing this here, is to try and get as much of the water out as possible. Now, there are ways of doing that, but the problem is with every other method of doing that, you end up not just getting rid of water, you'll end up getting rid of all those nice nutrients that are currently dissolved in the water. So by boiling it down like this, by reducing it, you retain all the flavors. For humans, I guess it'll be more important for saying that. I guess the fish really care too. But most importantly, you maintain all the nutritional value of it, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So this is pretty much all you can do for reduction as far as in a pot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch this over to a cookie tray and with parchment paper on it, and I'm just going to spread it out, and then I'm going to put it in the oven, and I'm going to leave it there for a while, but I'm going to leave it on pretty much the lowest setting. I just want to keep this reasonably hot, so that it's going to continue to evaporate. But I don't want to, do any more cooking. It's more than cooked at this point. And at this point, I've probably spent about 2 to 3 hours preparing this. So that's one of the downsides of this particular variety of or method of doing this, and has something I think against it. Now, this is where I was thinking I should stop. Don't actually worry about the black you see. That's just the cookie tray underneath. It definitely needs to be replaced. This is actually all green through and through. And I was thinking this is actually a really good paste. This would be something you can actually just pour straight, take a little bit out and put in an aquarium, and then pretty much every fish I think would just love to eat this at this point. But I wanted to try out the full drying it out process. So that's what I'm going to do here now. One of the things we picked up for our cats and dogs and whatnot to make, natural treats for them is we picked up a dehydrator. It was on sale, and I thought, well, this should actually be a really good way of making pleco food. And that's what I decided to go for this. In retrospect, I probably should have kept some back and then tried out both, but I'm going to be doing more of this, so we'll see how that goes as well. So all I did is I spread it out with a fork, and then because this is going to get quite hard, I am just cutting divisions in it here so that I'll have little cubes. Now, I wasn't entirely sure how much more reduced this is going to end up. So I was, at this point, like I said, I haven't done this before, and I was interested in seeing how it was going to turn out, but I didn't want to end up with something that floated. That was my biggest concern. If it floats, then it really won't be what I wanted. It wouldn't do what I want it to do, and I was a bit concerned about that. So here it is, just sitting in the trays. I'm going to get 4 trays like this out of this, which is pretty good. And then from this point on, it only required, it was like late afternoon when I did this. And then what I did is just turn it on overnight. And the final clip that you're going to see of this is me taking it apart. It was just, like I said, overnight, which is fine. That's when I don't have to watch it, I don't mind so much. And because I had one more tray, I just sliced up a carrot and put it on top. I was going to think of doing zucchini and a few other things. And actually, if you have any suggestions for what you would like to see dehydrated and see what fish would like to eat, definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll try some stuff out because I have the dehydrator now. So it should be interesting to see if there are anything else that will work. So as you can see, the carrot just turns into this little leathery thing. And I have put them in fish tanks. And the funny thing is, they pretty much just reinflate, and it ends up looking pretty much like a slice of carrot, which is a little unusual. I didn't expect that. And I'm finding that the plecos and the shrimps and the snails do feed off them a little bit, but they don't really care for the carrot that much as far as actually just devouring the whole thing goes. So I probably won't really do a whole lot of that. But I did pick up some zucchini, and probably this weekend I am going to give that a go. And like I said, just let me know if there's anything else you want. So these are what is left of all that entire bin of fish and vegetables and everything else. And as you can see, it dries out really nicely. This is actually a good result. And like I said, it looks like a cow pie actually. But anyway, a dried out one. So I'm going to throw these in some fish tanks, and we're going to see how this all goes, see what fish like them. So about a day later, and about 3 hours of actual work put into it, this is what you end up with. I mean, the carrots obviously don't really matter. That didn't take much time. But this is that whole bin full of food. And it's actually quite dense, and they're nice and hard, and I don't have to, refrigerate this or anything. I think this is going to keep quite nicely. And I'm going to see how long it lasts to see if that time put in is actually worth it. Now, as far as the plecos go, put these in, and actually the plecos and the shrimp and the snails and that sort of stuff, they all just chow down on it. It's actually quite good. The final clip here is actually quite funny. There's going to be a pleco who's going to be defending his little wafer. And this is great. This is what I want it to do. For other fish, I think I would have stopped at the thick paste. I think I'm going to try again at that level and see how they like it. I think it's going to be a good hit for them. But this is actually just, like I said, just for bottom feeders in general, but mostly, of course, for breeding plecos. So as always, if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe and let me know what you think of this. And stick around for the end clip because it is actually really kind of funny. And like I said, I'm going to try different recipes and different reductions. There's a carrot starting to rehydrate. And actually probably in a few more hours, it'll look like just like a carrot again. And also, I want to try the paste out. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. So you can see, watch this guy here. He wants that all to himself, and he pretty much chases off anybody who comes by. It is actually really kind of funny. And I guess a testament to the fact that he actually likes it. And as you can see, the platies also like picking on it. But for most other fish, it really doesn't work out very well. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.